Welcome back to Titans Insider. I'm Dave Ammenheuser, the sports editor of the Tennessean. With me today are John Glennon, Jim Wyatt, our two Titans beat reporters. We're talking about a variety of issues today. You didn't catch segment 1 about the coaching search. Go back and take a look at it. But right now we're going to talk about the off-season moves the Titans may make, may not make. I've got a list here of a couple players I just want to talk to the guys about. And is he going to be wearing the blue next year?
I don't think so, because I don't think they can pay him $8 million, to make him work in an offense, and I don't think he's necessarily worth, $8 million at this point. I did talk to Chris Johnson. Certainly, he's frustrated. A lot of talk to me about whether the Titans want him back. Chris Johnson said he doesn't know if he wants to be back if they're not going to use him in the offense the right way. And I think the way this offense has evolved, the players that they've acquired, they can't use them like they used to, or they have to depend on him so much. So, from betting on it, I say no.
John, if he's not back, who's running the ball?
Well, you got Sean Green. Certainly, I don't think Titans fans probably got a full glimpse of Sean Green this year because he was injured for much of the year, which has really not been the case through his career. He's been pretty healthy for the most part. I think at his best, he's a solid runner. He's certainly not a explosive threat the way Chris Johnson is, but I think if you pair him with more of a breakaway type back that you get in the draft this year, I think that still has the potential to be a good backfield, and you're saving an awful lot of money if you move away from Chris Johnson. Right now, the Titans don't have a ton of money looking ahead under the cap, but if you move away from some salaries such as Chris Johnson's, that opens up a little bit more money you can add to other places that you need.
And I'll say this on this subject before we move on to the other guy. Titans fans are frustrated by Chris Johnson and feel like they are ready to move on. I kind of take the, better be careful for what you wish for, because the Titans have drafted and acquired a lot of running backs over the years, from Chris Brown to Chris Henry to Lindell White. And I could go down a long list of players that the team thought would come in. Those guys have been hurt. They've been unproductive. Chris Johnson plays every week. Maybe he's not the back he used to be, but you take him off this team, and they don't scare you in the backfield. If you ask me, Sean Green certainly didn't impress me in his first year.
Okay, let's talk about a couple other players. And I'll start with an easy one. Somebody makes another player that fans are frustrated with. All right, as I go through these lists, Kenny Britt, back or not?
You know what?
I'll just start with an easy one.
Yeah, he won't be back. I mean, he kind of wore out his welcome, and I wonder how much he has left because of his knees. He thinks he's going to be number one receiver in the league somewhere. We'll see, but won't be here.
Okay. John, here's another fairly easy one just because of the contract status, but someone else who I think the fans are frustrated with from time to time, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Is he back as the number 2 guy next year?
I think he certainly is coming back at this point. The Titans situation at quarterback, there's so many question marks. Jake Locker is coming back from that injury. He's probably not even going to be healthy until May or June. And there's not another veteran quarterback right now besides Ryan Fitzpatrick. And to be honest, certainly there were some games that Ryan Fitzpatrick struggled and threw a lot of interceptions. But you look at some of the other backups around the league, and you could actually do a whole lot worse than Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I think he's back. I think he's got the capability of winning. He was 3-7 as a starter this year, and a lot of those other games that he lost were very close. If he can cut back on some turnovers, they'd be even better. Of course, that's been the story of his career for the most part.
All right. Third guy that also is still under contract is, honestly, I like what he's done for the team myself. Nate Washington. Is he coming back?
I think so. I think that more important than what he's done on the field is what he's done inside, the meeting rooms. And you talk to, Kendall Wright, you talk to Justin Hunter, you talk to the young guys, and they tell you that Nate Washington's the leader of that group. He's been productive as well. He's supposed to make a lot of money, but they've got some other guys in that position that are affordable. So I think he's back, but certainly he might have to talk about that contract a little bit. But that's a lot of money.
Well, since we're talking about Washington, what about Leon Washington?
Leon Washington certainly is not under contract. I'm sure the Titans would love to have him back. He did a great job for them in a short amount of time. But how much of a priority is a return man? Especially these days with so many kickoffs or touchbacks these days. How much money do you really get out of a return guy? And you've got kind of the wild card situation. Mark Mariani, and at least in theory, is going to be coming back from a second season.
Stop. You actually stole my thunder. Mark Mariani was the next guy on my list.
I see.
So is Mark Mariani coming back?
I think he will. I mean, the Titans, in putting him in IR this year, the Titans actually expressed a little bit of faith in him, I think, because they wanted to keep him in the organization. They wanted to keep him in-house. They didn't want to cut him free, see him with another team. So I think if he can come back healthy, and the signs we saw this year, when we saw him in the locker room from time to time, that he was progressing, I think they will give him another shot next year.
And I'll say this, giving him a chance and being back are two different things. I think Leon Washington's at the stage of his career where he's not getting a multi-million-dollar contract. He's getting a one-year deal. Mark Mariani's going to get a one-year deal. So Titans in the Titans' best interest to sign them both, let them compete in camp, but then decide on one of them. Yeah.
Okay. How about the guy who will get more than a one-year contract? Pollard Werner. Will he be wearing the blue and white?
Personally, I can't see it because they're already paying one cornerback, Jason McCourty, a heck of a lot of money, and two, because they've got Kobe Sensabaugh and Bleedy Ray Wilson and Tommy Campbell sitting on the contract for another year. They have some options at that position where they don't have to break the bank. I think they need to spend money at other positions. So Werner's going to command a lot of money in free agency. He's a good player, great locker room guy. In a perfect world, yeah, he's back. I just don't think it's going to work out.
Okay, the last one I had on my list right now is Bernard Pollard.
I think the Titans certainly ought to take a run at bringing Bernard Pollard back, not only because of what he did on the field. He led the team in tackles, had a great year in that respect, but I think what he did for leadership in the locker room. I think this was a team and a defense in particular that needed that veteran leadership, that voice to kind of shape around. I think they should really take a run at Bernard Pollard to bring him back. It just depends how much money they have, how much money Bernard Pollard is going to ask for, and how much money they feel they need to spend at different positions. But I really think they need to make a serious run at Bernard Pollard.
Keep in mind two things. I mean, I think some of these guys under contract, obviously they don't have a choice. Guys are not in contract. All bets are off now that the coaching staff has changed. And does Bernard Pollard want to be back? I guess that depends on.
Does the new coach want?
Yeah, exactly. So the dynamics have changed. For not only the people making the decisions on whether they want to bring these guys back, but also the players might look at things differently now.
Is there any one player on the team that the fans or it's not really out there that, hey, he probably won't be back, but no one's thinking about him? Anybody like that?
Well, I think people are thinking about these guys and ready for them to move on. I don't think David Stewart, the right tackle, who's been here for so long, don't see him coming back. That's a position he's been hurt too much. He's making too much money. That's a position where they've got, they started to rebuild this offensive line. They got, with the Swinky and Warmack, Levitri new. I think certainly they're looking for a new right tackle, and that's going to be into Stewart and Cameron Wembley, defensive end, who really they paid way too much money to and was not a fit in their defense. They let him play another year here this past year. Wasn't productive. He's out the door as well as they try to find another defensive end.
And I think a couple other names that to keep an eye on as well. Rapati Patoatua, the other defensive end who came in undervalued this year. He was a great free agent signing for the Titans. Had a good year, had 4 sacks, and was very good against the run, but 1-year contract. So did he do enough this year to increase his value so much that the Titans aren't going to be able to re-sign him? He's a question mark. And then another guy, Damian Williams, also without a contract going into this offseason. He's proven a valuable guy. He can play the different positions, all the different positions at wide receiver. He can fill in at returner in a pinch if need be. Smart guy. I think the Titans would like to have him back, but again, he's up in the air as a free agent.
Okay, that concludes this segment. We'll be back in a second to take some reader questions for the pound.